training leading up to Louisville is good. You know, it was kind of a odd week in the sense that we wished we would have stayed in Morocco for a little bit longer. So we had a couple extra training days. So we've had to kind of mix and match a little bit. But I think the guys are ready to get another game under their belt prior to Colorado.
With that, are there final things to work out with this scrimmage, or is it? Yeah.
Scoring more goals would be one, Jada. You know, we're trying to work on our attacking movements. Those are always the ones that come hardest, you know, in any preseason. But we've been working a lot on trying to get our attacking movements set. And then, you know, you put the players in the right positions, they have enough quality, they'll score. So we worked a lot on that, but again, our build out, our team defending, all of those things. It's been kind of a good week in that sense. We've had a couple extra training days where we could work on pretty much everything.
You mentioned the score goals before, but also saying that, you know, we've got to get to know each other. I mean, you guys know each other now.
Yeah.
I mean, this has been, you know, a core that's been together except for Hebert. So what is the struggle now?
Well, the struggle is actually, you know, helping them, making sure that they understand the little nuances of what we're trying to do differently this year. Those starting points on how we get into the final third, and then it's just execution, it's repetition, it's just getting them out there on the field and getting them in every exercise to try and score goals. It's as much mentality as technique. So if you practice it enough, you know, hopefully they score enough goals in practice, they understand it feels good when they score, and they, you know, that goes over into games.
Hugh Weber announced this morning as the new business president.
Big signing.
Yeah.
That's like a DP signing.
I mean, his gigantic decades and decades long career. Thoughts on bringing him in? Have you guys had any communication or run-ins in the past?
Oh, yeah. Well, not in the past, but since he came on board, we've had meetings and cups of coffee and stuff like that. Really nice man. Super nice man. Obviously his credentials, you guys read the press release and all of that. I mean, it's really a great signing for us, and look forward to working with him.
With that came this kind of 6-year plan of growth, you know, from Adrian Hanauer and everything. You know, what are your thoughts on that whole plan and the bullet points and that involve these 6 years?
Well, I'm obviously very proud of the club. I think, you know, from when Adrian took over in 2001, 2002, he's done a lot to push this club forward. This is just another step in that journey. And look, he's had help. I mean, he's had good help. He'd be the first one to tell you, Gary Wright and some of those other guys, the association with the Seahawks in the beginning. But Adrian's done a lot of that heavy lifting himself. And this 6-year plan, he needs people to execute it. Therefore, the hire, you know, with Hugh and getting everybody on the same page, similar to what we're trying to do on the field, and just, you know, pushing the club forward. I think it's a great plan. Looking forward to it. I think every soccer fan in this city understands the importance of, you know, 50-year anniversary, World Cup, and how do we, you know, as a club, benefit from some of these big events that are happening right here in Seattle.
Another off-field quickly. Bruce Lee kit came out yesterday. Thoughts on the Bruce Lee kit?
I love it. I think Bruce Lee is iconic. You know, some of the guys were complaining it was a little too much to RSL, but I personally like the kit. I think it's super cool. All the graphics, all the details. You know, the devil's always in the details, and some really nice details and storylines with the kit. I think everybody who's from Seattle understands the importance. Maybe not the importance, but the significance of Bruce and what he did, and you know, he was a megastar. So everybody's watched his films and listened to some of the things that he says. You know, I like that one that the club put out about, you know, when you fill a glass with water, the water becomes a glass. You know, it's pretty cool. Exciting.
Do you? I mean, those lines and the certain philosophies that he taught. Do you take any of that into your coaching at all?
Well, I take it into my personal life. Whether it makes it out on the field, who knows, Jackson.
How does the plan, the 6-year plan and whatnot, how does that kind of, or does that energize, you know, you as coach? And
Sure.
Because obviously they're coming here to watch the people.
I mean, look, as a guy born and raised in Seattle, I think it's exciting times. Just if I'm removed coach's hat and I'm just a fan, I think it's really super exciting times. I think the players, what they will see is a new facility opening up. Then they'll see the 50-year anniversary, the branding, some of that history. I know you can look it up on the internet, but when it's out there in front of you, placed there by professionals, and Brian Babcock and all those guys, they do a great job of pushing out all of the stories. The younger players, the Josh Atencios, the Danny Leyvas, the Ethans, all of those guys will learn a bit of history, and I think that's always good. And then we'll get to the World Cup at some point, and that'll be exciting. So, good times.
On the field, how is Obed?
Good, getting better. He'll be in training next week.
Next week.
He'll be in training. He'll be in full training next week.
And then you've talked a little bit before, but as far as the progression of Danny, I know it was a fluke play deflection, but there was a missed clearance or block, I guess maybe you would call it there, that he could have had. So I mean, how has he responded to that, or how
he's responded well? Soccer is a team sport. You can never put it on one particular person or play. I can always say, well, we didn't score a goal. Maybe if we're 1-0 ahead or 2-0 ahead, the game's different. So it's a team sport. But Danny's a resilient kid. He's got a good chance to hopefully make the U20s coming up later in the year, the U20 World Cup. And so he's got some goals that he wants to accomplish. He wants to fight for playing time here. He wants to be part of that U20 group. So he's a great kid, and he's shrugged it off.
Jackson Reagan certainly gained a lot of minutes, and in practices seems to be quite good and well in good conditioning. How was that competition for those two center back spots?
Three. I know you like Yaimar, but I mean.
Are you playing with a 3-man back line? Is that
No. I mean 3 for 2. I mean, look, Yaimar has to do it. Javi has to do it. Jackson has to do it. Those three, we have a very talented group. They're all subtly different. I think I've talked about this. They're all subtly different. Each one have strengths. Each one have areas of concern. And how we mix and match and what we do for the entirety of this season is TBD. It's still to be decided.
How do you handle that when a player kind of gets used to being that starter, and then you're kind of rotating?
You just talk to him. Be honest with them. I've had conversation with all three of them. So right now it's Yaimar and Jackson, but Javi is working hard. He looks good in training. So if things don't go well, then next guy steps up.
Talking about those offensive nuances, how much of that is going to maybe whenever the ball's not getting to Raul enough, making some things happen so that doesn't happen?
Well, Raul needs service. Again, it's a team sport. Center forwards can't score goals without the balls delivered to him in the right spots in the right moments. So those are all the things that we've been working on. Hebert's inclusion, I've talked about that. Maybe we get both guys on the field, but we're working through all of that.
You all have a good mix of ages and experience on this team, but with that core, like that Nico core, is that how is it fair to call them aging, or are they do you call them old? Like, what is that for soccer?
I call them experienced.
Yeah.
I call them experienced, Jada.
No, that's I'm just curious how you look at that core that's been here for so long, done so much, but still good. I don't know.
Players have to retire at some point. When that is, why that is, how that is, where that is, those are all decisions that are all different for different people. And I remember Zach Scott played his whole career here with the Sounders. That's a great story. We've had megastars, Casey Keller, Clint, all of that. I mean, it's life. Eventually you're going to retire, and you try and get the most out of them. Freddie is a great example. Freddie Montero. I mean, there were some people that probably thought he should have retired a couple years ago, but helped us win Champions League last year. So,
looking at the way the calendars kind of developed this year, is that changing your approach to the way you face MLS Cup, US Open Cup, Leagues Cup?
No, we'll get into that, but right now the important thing for us is to start the MLS season strong, so our focus is there, the messaging is there. We'll deal with Leagues Cup, we'll deal with Open Cup as they come up. We have to have a strong performance to open the season up, and then we'll tackle those other problems when they come.
I mean, you've been there, done that year after year, but do you get a little bit of like butterflies for the home opener?
For big games, for sure. It's normal. If you're not, I always say that to the players, if they don't have little butterflies when the referee blows the whistle, then you're not living. They get to live in these moments. These are great experiences. They will look back on these games, these moments in time when they're my age, and they'll have fond memories of them.
Now that it's official that the World Cup Club World Cup is expanding to 32 teams, what's your opinion about that? And do you feel like you were part of the last one, or the most prestigious part of it?
Well, look, things always change in the world. I mean, we're thinking about changing playoffs, and baseball's changing rules, and stuff like that. It's just it's life. Club World Cup still will be a very important competition for FIFA, and we're just proud that we were the first ones.
If you could make one change to Major League Soccer rules, what would you do?
Man, Jackson, really?
Get back to you on it.
I'd have to think about it. You stumped me there. That's actually a good question, because you stumped me.